The Seen and Unseen Puranic Universe. A lecture for the Vaishnava Institute for Higher Education.
This is an extract from a series of online lectures I gave for the Vaishnava Institute for Higher Education. Giridhari and I spoke on the 5th Canto. This video focuses on the vertical axis of the Vedic universe and its relationship with semantics. Enjoy.
Chapter 23, the Sisumara Planetary System. First of all, we're starting on what we call the scene. There's this dolphin constellation that we can see in the sky. And it's what was meditated on by yogis as being a form of the universe. This is a divine dolphin, also known as the Sisumara Planetary System, with Dhruv Maharaj sitting in Dhruvaloka, situated on the tail of this dolphin. So just looking here, as it's understood or conceived, imagine the Earth there being in the center or near the center, with Mandala looking up at the pole star. From our point of view, we're going to see, and all the different, from our point of view at least, all the planets seem to revolve around Dhruvaloka. From the Earth, the stars look as if they're revolving around the present pole star. So you get this lovely pattern here. Now we ventured into the unseen. I wanted to introduce you to one scholar, Rishiraj Ashnish Dalela. He wrote various books. One book which I actually like very much is called Mystic Universe. And this is a good way of trying to understand, I believe, the vertical unseen dimension. Understanding different angles of vision. For example, leaf. What is a leaf? This is a leaf. That's a leaf. That's also a leaf. Many leaves. This is also a leaf. And in other words, the definition of a leaf, depending on our point of view, we see things differently according to our perspective. This reminds us of this hierarchical universe, according to Ashish Dalela, which he emphasizes, where Lord Brahma may see the whole forest, the whole jungle, and as you work your way down, you see less and less, and you see smaller and smaller with things in more detail. But the different levels of the universe have their own perspective, which is valid for themselves, but may not be so comprehensible to others. So these subtle beings were created first at the top of the universe, and but those, as you work your way down the universe, the vertical dimension, you can't see above you, you can only see below you. And of course, us being fairly low down actually, compared with the higher planets, our senses are more or less restricted to what's applicable for our life on this planet as we perceive as a globe. Here's a monkey, of course, looking at a laptop, probably quite bemused. Why? Because what this laptop does, what its function is, and certainly how it was made and how to use it, is more or less beyond the monkey's comprehension. Ask that monkey in monkey language, what does this laptop do? Ask that monkey to tell his fellow primates the purpose of the laptop, and how would he do it? It is quite simply something beyond his experience. So he would do so in a way that he would understand. We can relate that analogy to perhaps even ancient human societies. And a word that Ashish Dalela uses a lot, semantics, the branch of linguistics and logic concerned with meaning, a sense and reference of presumption and implication, can be based on the vocabulary one is accustomed to, based on one's experience. Are there words in our present-day vocabulary which are able to describe higher realms? The answer is there will be a struggle there. A good example is the book of Ezekiel in the Bible, where it describes wheels upon wheels of angels floating in the sky. This is another artist's impression of the same verses, but this time something a little bit more recognizable. Perhaps similar artists today can come up with something which is a little bit more recognizable, because the artist's impressions is based on the culture, the popular culture, and the words that we are accustomed to. So today we may say, oh, it's spaceships, or it's whatever they are, because we're able to understand and relate to them. This is a really good example. Imagine you've got a Roman centurion, you bring him forward 2,000 years, you take him out of Europe and you stick him in a modern shopping mall or a modern airport, I think, as this may be. what's going to happen? That Roman soldier is going to be absolutely bewildered because it's outside of his experience, beyond what his vocabulary is able to describe. So he would turn to his fellow legionaries upon his return to 5 BC or something, and he would use his language to try to describe something, talking in metaphor, for example. So we have other examples. The Maharaj Priyavata, his Vimana was like a second sun. His wheel ploughed troughs on Earth in space to form the present Bhumandala, or even Earth's continents. So, this have been something a little bit more kind of like a second sun floating in the sky, like a spaceship, but is understood or described as a chariot.
In the world of semantics, then, flying cities in the Puranas and other scriptures are either huge spaceships, vimanas, or actual cities floating high in the atmosphere in the Earth's very distant past. Manasatar mountain, described in the Bhagavat Purana's 5th canto, is not a literal granite mountain in space, but rather the boundary of a special Goldilocks region protected by the demigods, with Earth at the centre. Later in the same chapter we read that Dhruvaloka mountain just beyond the orbit of Saturn. Again, not a physical mountain, but a barrier marking the extent of which planets, astrological grahas, can be seen from the Earth with the naked eye. Beyond Dhruvaloka is a Lokavash, which includes the hardly visible planet of Uranus. A final example, the Garbhodaka ocean filling the bottom half of the Puranic universe is not physical water, but Garbhodaka represents a state of unformed matter, or the womb of potential in the universe. Something to think about. Thanks for watching and take care.